Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Monday, November 4th, 2024. It's P. Diddy's birthday. He's turning 55 today. And the big headline on Diddy's birthday, a music producer, is the death of an even more famous music producer, Quincy Jones, who reportedly passed yesterday, Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. And what I want to talk about is the seemingly obvious connection to the parallel as well, where Black history is on the verge of being made. And in a sense, it's already been made because there's never been a Black woman frontrunner for President of the United States for one of the two major political parties. But real quick out there, if you're a music buff, do you know what Quincy Jones's first big hit was? He's got a lot of big hits he's connected to, a lot of major acts. Let me just see if anyone in the chat, well, somebody might have already read my post, or somebody might actually know. But I would think the average person would have no idea what his first big hit was, and it might surprise you. It's a song that if you grew up with a parent in my age, no doubt you've heard the song a million times. This song used to always be on the oldie station when I was growing up. My mom loves this song, and as a child, I always thought it was kind of a. I was like, why would somebody write a song about this? Almost like a depressing song. No, not Thriller. It was decades before Thriller. We're going to talk about Thriller for sure, but it wasn't Thriller. He's been around since way before Thriller. Thriller came out in 82, was the biggest song probably of 83. That was the year I was born. But let me see. No, no, it's not a Michael Jackson song. It's not Michael Jackson. Mm-mm. I'll give you a hint. She used a different last name than her actual last name, which was Goldstein, and it might have been that of the vice president of Bill Clinton. And it's interesting because Quincy Jones did the music for Bill Clinton's first inauguration, number 42. They joked that Bill Clinton, number 42, was the first Black president. And now here Quincy Jones is dead 42 years from the month Thriller was released in back in 82, kind of like how Aretha died after doing her 42nd album. It's my party. There it is. Life of Adrian's got it. It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. That was Quincy Jones's first big hit with Leslie Gore. And watch, this is going to blow your mind the way all this is connected. We're going to get to that point in a moment. But we did have a winner in the chat. And if you look at the history write-up, that was it. And by the way, a lot of the news this morning is pointing out that Quincy Jones was the first Black vice president. You're hearing this all over if you're listening to the media this morning. He was the first Black vice president of a major record studio. So we're going to get to how connected this is to the election, where Kamala, the 49th VP, is trying to become the first Black female president and the first female president, period. But in all these write-ups this morning, it's pointed out all over. First Black vice president of a major record label. And that was Mercury Records. But notice, Quincy Jones dead at 91. His birth name is Quincy Delight Jones, which again in Gematria equates to 91. And if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, you learn this code, you'll see the world through a much clearer lens. Again, the world of entertainment is full of suspicious death. A lot of people won't question this one because he lived to be 91, a relatively long life. But you look at all these young entertainers who've died through this Gematria lens, you'll really see it. And I'm not thinking that Quincy Jones passed organically here. Again, we're going to get to all the reasons why it does not look like he passed organically. But if you're new here, we talk about Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, thus GematriaEffectNews. Again, there's a song out there, Gematria, the killing name. There's another song out there, Murder by Numbers by the Police, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. He was born on Pi Day, was Quincy Jones, March 14th in the year 33. That means with his passing on November 3rd, he died on the 235th day of his age. And We've seen this one before, the 23591. Who gave us the calendar? Who gave us the language? That is the Jesuits, whose formal title is the Society of Jesus. Again, notice how in this code of letters and numbers, the Society of Jesus equates to 235 and 91. So right there alone, you got to say, what are the odds he would die on his 235th day of being 91 years old? And again, if you're not familiar with the Jesuits, again, you got to learn more about history. They run this nation. They've ran it from the beginning. Where they made their capital when they came to this country was Washington, D.C. That's why eventually the nation's capital moved there. There's a reason that Inauguration Day is now on 20/1, like the 201st day of the nation's age. It's a very special number to the Society of Jesus. We're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope. He's the first to live in Suite 201. But anyhow, moving on beyond that point, Quincy Jones alone also equates to 152. And in case you're new here, you might be going, wait a minute. His full name equals 91, but only his first and last name equals 152. Again, if you're new here, we always talk about the same thing over and over. The 4 base ciphers of the English language, the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. You learn these 4 base ciphers, you see through the rituals. So anyhow, Quincy Jones is 152, like Kamala Devi Harris, also like Joe Biden. Like how when they took office, the first President's Day just happened to fall on the 46th day of the year, 15/2. There's been a lot of rituals with Kamala and 152, including that first Simpsons episode coming out of not the first Simpsons episode, but the one about the first female president. That episode came out in history March 19th, 2000, 152 days after Kamala's birthday. Anyhow, all focus is on Pennsylvania. The White House is also on Pennsylvania Avenue. They're saying the state of Pennsylvania should decide the election. Whoever wins that state should be the winner of the election. Pennsylvania also 152. You might recall Kamala and Biden hosted the Chiefs at the White House on the 152nd day of this year. That was May 31st. Funny enough, the Chiefs are on prime time tonight, like the Commander-in-Chiefs. And if Andy Reid wins tonight, who used to coach in Pennsylvania, used to coach the Philadelphia Eagles, beat them in Super Bowl 57. Now here we are on the day, leaving 57 days left here. But if Andy Reid wins tonight on Monday Night Football as a substantial favorite, he'll get his 152nd win with the Chiefs, just like how they visited the White House again on the 152nd day of the year. So you got all this 152 in focus, and now Quincy Jones is passed, and Quincy Jones was outspoken about how much he did not like Donald Trump. Here's something in the headlines today. Quincy Jones on Donald Trump. He's a effing idiot. So that's floating around with his passing. And again, just to remind you about the visit to the White House. Right here, 152nd day of the year, May 31st, 2024. In a leap year, that's the 152nd day. Again, the Chiefs won the 64th season of the NFL after Norma Hunt, the owner, died on 6/4. And she died on Joe Montana's birthday as they beat Montana's other team. He played for the Chiefs and the Niners. Number 19 with the Chiefs. First team to go back-to-back in 19 years, like they also beat the Niners in the 2019 season. But Joe Biden and Kansas City Chiefs. And funny enough, tonight's home game, Chiefs hosting the Bucks. Home teams for the year on 64 losses. That was 110 days after the Super Bowl. I was saying then there was a big theme with Minnesota. They keep talking about how Minnesota hasn't voted for the Republican Party in 52 years. Like president, White House, government authority all have that 52 connection, like how Minnesota equals 52, and they hosted Super Bowl 52. Of course, Minnesota and Kansas City. That was Super Bowl 4, where the Chiefs got their first Super Bowl win. They were the only 2 teams this year to start 4-0. Also the only 2 teams to start 5-0. When the 50th NFL season was Super Bowl 4. Of course, the Chiefs became the only team to start 6-0 on Kamala's 60th birthday, right before the 60th election. But yeah, these are all things we've been documenting since, as they happen. So this post was from the day that they visited, May 31st, but now here we are all these months later, and now it's the day before the election. And again, just coincidentally, Andy Reid can get his 152nd win with the Chiefs. And for anyone trying to verify that, just head on over to Football Reference, the #1 website for NFL stats. Just look up Andy Reid and know how to look up the stats. You can see that with Kansas City, he has 135 regular season wins and 16 wins in the postseason with Kansas City. You put it together, that's 151, meaning the next one is 152. It is also interesting that his next regular season win with the Chiefs is 136 because that's the 16th triangular number. And of course, 16 years ago, Obama became the first black president. The Jesuits since the 16th century. But yeah, and just for the record, that episode of The Simpsons where you got the first female president, Lisa Simpson, wearing purple with the pearl necklace like Kamala wore on Inauguration Day. Again, that's what the Whore of Babylon wears in Revelation 17. But yeah, that episode, March 19, 2000, 152nd day of Kamala's age, because things are this scripted. The world of entertainment, the world of scripted politics, it's all part of one big rigged show and deception. That's why if you're voting in it, you're only helping validate the lie. Point blank, period. You're not doing anything else. You're not having any impact. These things are a foregone conclusion. All right. So yeah, again, all over this morning, clips of them talking about him being the first black vice president of a major record label. Just to play ads. Here, just even this broadcast right here. Here's one of many examples. Let me switch the audio settings real quick so you can just hear it. It's right at the beginning. All right. Just seconds in here.
Quincy Jones has died aged 91, and we can't really understate how huge this is. Rachel Venables joins us on set. He was one of the first black vice presidents of Mercury Records. He was behind.
Again, that phrase is all over this morning. The news just repeats itself. They're all reading off the same, came from the same overlords that control all these news networks. But again, he did the inauguration music for Bill Clinton, number 42. Remember, Kamala equals 42. Her mom died on the 42nd day of the year, right after Obama took office on the Vatican's birthday, February 11, 2009. Joe Biden passed the torch to her on July 21st, 42 months and a day after they took office. The election's 42 days before the Pope's birthday. 42 is all over Black history. Speaking of this 152 thing in sports, we just saw the Dodgers win the World Series in tribute to Jackie, number 42, 152 days after Dave Roberts' birthday, as the Dodgers stayed on 152 all-time postseason losses. So, again, this stuff's all over the place, but again, it is 42 years since Michael Jackson's Thriller album came out in November of 82. Quincy Jones, that might be his best remembered work. Notice how Harris and Quincy both equate to 73 and 89. Should remind you of the wrestler James Harris, who was Kamala. He died 2 days before Joe Biden made Kamala Harris the VP nominee. We'll go back and look at that. We'll go back and look at the Umega versus Kamala wrestling match a few days after Trump's 60th birthday. Now here we are with the 60th election. Umega did beat Kamala. We'll go back and check that out too. Again, the 4 base ciphers. We talked about how Quincy Delight Jones equates to 91. Like he's dead at 91. If you run it in reverse, it's 89. Also like Harris. 89 is the 24th prime. Here we are in 2024, 24 years after the Lisa Simpson First President episode came out. Notice also how his name in the base cipher is Quincy Delight Jones is 217. Remember, Biden passed the torch to Kamala on the 21st day of the 7th month, 217 days after the Pope's birthday. And if you go back in time, when Trump first became president in 2017, he went to the Vatican and he gave the Pope a lotus flower. Kamala means lotus flower. And that ritual took place May 24th, 2017, the 217th day of Kamala's age. When the torch just got passed on July 21st, 21/7, it was 217 days after the Pope's birthday. Again, the phrase Whore of Babylon is associated with the Catholic Church. And again, in Revelation, the Whore of Babylon wears purple with a pearl necklace, like what Kamala wore on Inauguration Day, what like Lisa Simpson wore in The Simpsons. And Kamala, she started dating Willie Brown when she was in her 20s. And Willie was 60. And now, just before the 60th election, she turned 60 and she's the face of the Democratic Party. I mean, again, this stuff was planned out long in advance. And a lot of people say she sucked her way to the top. And again, they tell you it's the voting between the lesser of two evils. Trump's the proud pussy grabber who wants to have sex with his own daughter. Kamala blew her way to the top. Who you want in 2024? Who's your favorite whore in 2024? Yeah, and specifically Revelation 17:5 about Mystery Babylon. This whole thing of Kabbalah goes back to Babylon, but Revelation, Lotus Flower, Kamala Harris, Donald J. Trump, all 49. James Harris, you can add to the list, is 49. That was the wrestler Kamala, who died 2 days before she became the VP nominee, and she's the 49th vice president. So just going down memory lane here, and again, there's Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. They had to get a picture from 1984, the year the other mega guy won re-election. Again, this picture is from the last day of Black History Month. Well, technically that year there would have been one more day because it was a leap year, 84. But typically the last day, February 28th, the 59th day of the year. Motown since 59. Notice November 3rd is the first of the last 59 days of the year, the day that Quincy Jones died. It should remind you that Obama's Secret Service name Renegade equaled 59. The torch was passed to Kamala while she was 59 years old. She won with Biden in the 59th election. She was made the VP nominee August 11th, 2020, a date with 59 numerology, something we called out a week before it happened. And then they had to take the wrestler Kamala 2 days before that. But again, if you're new here, big number for Black history. Slave, Negro, Rasta, Blues, they all equal 59. Run it the small way. You see how 3 of the 4 words have the 14 connection? He died 14 days after Kamala's October 20th birthday. And for the record, dead and end equal 14. The word Negro is not 14, but 32. He's dead 131 days after Michael Jackson's death anniversary, the 32nd prime number. Don't forget how they just did Tito Jackson, which equals 70 at age 70, and a Major Jackson 5 tribute. It's been 15 years since MJ died. 15 is the 5th triangular number. But yeah, 14 days after Kamala's birthday, he's gone. And the New York Times this morning, with his passing, they put out the story, 14 essential Quincy Jones songs. And remember, the New York Times has always been run by Jesuits. The Jesuits gave us the calendar and the language and are the ones behind this system. But you can start to see why they pick things. I mean, it doesn't 14 kind of seem like an arbitrary number? I mean, we're used to top 10s, maybe even a top 15, maybe a top 20, but they had to go with the 14 essential Quincy Jones songs. And if you look, his first big hit was It's My Party. If you don't know that song, it's an oldie from 63, the year of the JFK assassination. The day he died on, November 3rd, is typically the 307th day of the year, which is the 63rd prime number. And notice, just like I told you guys before Thursday Night Football, Texans could get upset and fall to 6-3, like how the Dallas Texans became the Kansas City Chiefs in 63, and then Dallas could beat Atlanta could beat Dallas to become 6-3. Both of those things happened, paying tribute to 63. We just saw the World Series, the game on the day, leaving 63 days left in the year. The score was 4-11, like JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street. Now here we are on the date that can be written 4/11, where you get the news of this. Again, the scripts, the ritualism, it's it's really one big tight web. Again, look into that word Svengali about the hidden evil hand in the entertainment industry that spins webs. But yeah, anyhow, Leslie Gore was his first big, hit with her as the artist. It's My Party, and I'll Cry If I Want to. And if you don't know what the song's about, it's about a girl on her party. She sees the boy that she's into with another girl. So she's crying on her birthday party because the guy's chosen another girl. That's why I always thought it was a messed up. Because man, when I grew up, my mom was always listening to the oldies station, and they played all the songs from like that 50s, 60s, early 70s era. I'm growing up in like the mid 80s, early 90s, but this song they played all the time. Every time it came on, I just thought like that's a funny song to be a big hit on the radio because it's like depressing, isn't it? Like it's your birthday party and things aren't going your way. But anyway, that was his big song, and then it just makes me think about political parties, right? So again, the way they have this whole thing structured this year, it's a lot more confusing than 2020. 2020 was very straightforward. There was no way Joe Biden wasn't becoming number 46 exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, in light of what they did to the only other Catholic president at age 46, JFK. Again, Catholic equals 46, 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, plus Beau Biden. He got 86 at age 46. But this one, that forever they were tying just everything to Trump becoming the next Grover Cleveland, and that still could happen. But they've made some very interesting things for Kamala, including this right here. Unless it's like this, Kamala's going to be crying instead of having, on what she thought was going to be her party day. So it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. And then you look back at this lady who sang this song. Look at what day she died, you guys. She died at the end of Obama's, near the end of Obama's presidency on the 47th day of the year. Remember, Obama took office at age 47 with Biden. Kamala's trying to become number 47. When Joe Biden became senator-elect in 72, that was the 47th U.S. presidential election. But, it was the same year Jackie Robinson died, and they just paid tribute to that in a major way with this World Series. But we also talked about how Radiohead, the world-famous band, put out the song Lotus Flower on the 47th day of the year as well. Again, Kamala means lotus flower. From Kamala's birthday to that day is 119 days later. Whoever wins this election takes office with the 119th Congress. But it's tricky because tarot cards equals 119, and there's 78 tarot cards in the deck, and the top cards are Trump cards, and Trump's 78 years old. So they've assigned these numbers to both these people. They've made this one very interesting. If you run it the other way, It's My Party is 49, the name of the hit song, his first hit song, like Kamala Harris, like James Harris, the wrestler Kamala, who died right before she became the VP nominee. The production was helmed by Quincy Jones, his first big hit song. And notice that song came out on April 5th. It came out on April 5th, right? 4-5. Remember when RFK Jr. got in the race on April 5th, 2023, officially by filing his paperwork, and we said that day it foreshadowed assassination stories, probably multiple, like 1968 when MLK and his father got smoked, and then Trump has the two big hoaxes by the numbers. But isn't it funny that song came out on 4-5, and from the anniversary of that song's release to his death is 212 days later, like Kamala Harris is also 212. And we just saw this with Kamala's favorite football team. Their player, Shavarius Ward, just lost his daughter, Amani Joy, when Kamala's running on Joy, and his name is 212. And Amani Joy's 47, like how she's running to be number 47. Again, we just talked about this days ago. So you got to say, what are the odds? And again, he went to school in Tennessee where MLK got smoked. The death of his child came 47 days from his school's birthday anniversary. It was also 166 days after his last birthday that his child, Amani Joey, died. His name's also 166 when you run it the other way, like secret society. So from him to now Quincy Jones, who's also big on the West Coast and another liberal city. San Francisco, Quincy Jones, heavily connected to Seattle. Seattle, a city with a big music history too, from Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me right now? Whoa, you guys think I have a good memory? I can't think of like one of the most famous people ever who died way too. What is wrong with me? When I think of the name, I'm trying to say, who's the famous black guitarist from? I can't believe Jimi Hendrix. Oh my God, it's never taken. I must be suffering from the United States of amnesia because never in my life has it taken me that long to come up with the name Jimi Hendrix. But Jimi Hendrix to the whole grunge scene in the 90s, where the only remaining singer from that 90s grunge scene is the one who can't sing, Eddie Vedder, who replaced Andrew Wood, who died from the original Pearl Jam band. But someone's going to get offended by that, but Jeff Young won't. Jeff Young, if he's out there, he's grinning because Jeff Young cannot stand Eddie Vedder. If you guys don't know who Jeff Young is, he's a friend of the community, former guitarist of Megadeth, world-class talent, and the first celeb to ever get behind the work and help get out the word out there. So shout out to Jeff Young. But yeah, also about just this Leslie Gore parallel. Leslie Gore, 123, like Kamala. Like how the torch was passed to her on July 21st, 123 days after Willie Brown's birthday. And then Chuck Schumer endorsed her a few days later, 123 days after his own birthday. And like how the song Freedom equals 123, and Beyonce gifted that to her. And also, like how we told you in week one, the Niners were going to beat the Jets as both the New York teams went down to Tim Walz's Minnesota Vikings and Kamala's 49ers. And we said, watch, the Niners will get the 12th win versus the Jets all time because Kamala's 12. And they'll make home teams 11-5 for the week, like the elections on 11-5. And by the end of that game, the Niners had won by 13 points, making it so they had outscored the Jets by 123 points all time. Again, scripted sports, scripted politics, evil geniuses behind it all. When Leslie Gore died in 2015 on the 47th day of the year, don't forget words like president, White House, government authority, Republican, Democrat, DC, all those things equate to 47. And even just the letters DC alone when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. But Kamala turned 51 in 2015. She turned 51 years old. Remember, federal equals 51, Rome 51, DC used to be known as Rome on the Potomac, conspiracy equals 51. Notice Leslie Gore's also 51. She just happened to die in the year that Kamala turned 51. And then about him dying on November 3rd, I want to go back and remind you about Michael Jackson. His last public appearance was on March 3rd, 3/3. And then his last rehearsal before the This Is It tour that never happened, that was on Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th. Remember, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. It's also John the Baptist's birthday. You associate baptisms with babies. That's why they had to overturn Roe versus Wade by the numbers on that day. And give you the first black female Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, as they overturn Roe versus Wade with Dobbs Jackson. And they tell you that this is going to impact black women the most. And again, Joe Biden, his one criteria for his VP was a black woman. His one criteria for a Supreme Court Justice was a black woman. Identity politics, symbolic tokenism, empty gestures. But anyway, last appearance for MJ was on 3/3. Quincy Jones just died 33 weeks and 3 days after his birthday. Again, out of all the things he's associated with, which is a lot, at the top of the list is probably Michael Jackson. Michael's 33, like masonry, like secrecy, like order, like England. From his last public appearance to his last rehearsal before This Is It was 113 days. This Is It equals 113 and 103, like Scottish, as in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, where the top degree is the 33. And again, all the rites of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuit priests. Rite is spelled R-I-T-E in Masonry. The root word is ritual. And that's why you see all these rituals with deaths and scripted news and elections and sports. Because these secret societies that are into ritualism, like literally what they're based in, That's why this goes on every day. Remember Michael Jackson, the moonwalker, the year of the moon landing in a major Masonic Jesuit ritual where they said they brought the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry flag to the moon. But then years later, Buzz Aldrin said nobody ever went there. Remember, Neil Alden Armstrong equals 201, the moon landing on the 201st day of the year. Number of the Jesuits, the Illuminati, the illuminated object by the sun. Again, the first Jesuit Pope, the first in Suite 201. Jesuits also equates to 103. Here, just even since we brought up the moon landing thing, why not? Why not? From MJ's last birthday to the moon landing, 325 days. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 325. Moon, 57, like Scottish Rite. I mean, here's the news on the day, leaving 57 days left in the year of Quincy Jones. But moon landing was 40 days before MJ's birthday. Moonwalk 40. The moonwalker, the moon landing. Big jokes over almost everyone's head. And again, Michael Jackson, he might have been the guy who made the moonwalk famous, but he didn't invent it. It was taught to him by his dance choreographer. But he pulled it off like no other. All right. Yeah, so Thriller going to turn 42 at the end of this month. You know, Thriller's associated with Halloween. Quincy Jones is dead right after Halloween. But again, 42. All the long Black history list of 42, from February Black History Month to slavery to Tuskegee to Martin to Malcolm X to Muhammad Ali to LeBron James to the N-word to the word bust to Huxtable to Cosby Show to you can just keep it moving. Just the nonstop 42 show. So in the 42nd November since it released, Quincy Jones dead. And that does mean, if you want to get technical, it's 41 years and days until the anniversary. Let's not forget that Halloween equals 41 either. And again, just dead a few days after Halloween. In light of him being the first Black vice president of a major label and it being Mercury Records, I just had to look up who the current head of Mercury Records is, and his name's Tyler Arnold, who is like identical to Jesuit Order. Like, oh, Tyler Arnold's also 63, like back when Quincy Jones became the guy there with his big hit with Leslie Gore. So, yeah, those are my top observations about this. I'm sure if you really went through, there's probably at least 100 more things to point out. Like I always say, there's always more. And again, just because I covered this the other day, I'll probably put this out as a short video as well, just this part right here. But entertainment, or, you know, rigged entertainment, rigged elections, things being planned long ago. Again, there was a match between Umega and Kamala, the wrestler, right after Trump's 60th birthday. Don't forget, Donald Trump equals 60. July 14th, 2022, he came out and said he was going to run in this election. That day, later that day, there was a report put out by conservatives against Trump based on 60 legal cases. And then later that same day, his wife fell down the stairs and died. His ex-wife, 45 years after their marriage, Ivana, again, exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Nation year. Of course, Donald Trump equals 60. But, I mean, you know, Trump's super associated with the WWE. Go figure that right after his 60th birthday, this would have happened, this match between Umega and Kamala. And keep in mind, it officially happened June 26th. That was 12 days after Trump's birthday. 78 is the 12th triangular number. Trump is 78 right now. The insurrection is still a big focus. Insurrection equals 78. It happened 78 days after Kamala's birthday. We were saying back then it signaled that this would be the election in 2024, Trump versus Kamala. But again, right after his 60th birthday, Umega beat Kamala, the same Kamala who died 2 days before Kamala was made the VP nominee. And consider that that match was synced up with her 42nd birthday that year, 42 again. It came 116 days before her 42nd birthday, wrestling 116, Kamala 42, or Kamala if you're pronouncing it the wrestler way. It is funny that it was on June 26th. And you know what? There's more to say about June 26th as well, because that wasn't a leap year. Notice it was the 177th day of the year, the Jesuit Order 177, New World Order 177, the day leaving 188 days left in the year, Bavarian Illuminati 188. Again, that was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. But again, 160 days before her 42nd birthday. Now, here we are in the time of the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equates to 266, like how when Pope Francis spoke in D.C. in 2015, he did on September 23rd, the 266th day of the year. This wrestling match was 18 years ago. Isus Hominum Salvator is abbreviated IHS, which equals 18 forwards and backwards, like the word sun equals 18. The Jesuit Order's logo is the sun with IHS in it for Isus Hominum Salvator. Trump's Jesuit educated. Kamala's not, but she couldn't pass the bar until she took it at the Jesuit University. Bay Area is very Jesuit. 2 Jesuit universities out of the 27 remaining in the nation in the Bay Area, University of San Francisco and Santa Clara. Santa Clara is where Gavin Newsom went to, the 42nd mayor of San Francisco, now the governor of the state. But again, this election now 42 days before the Pope's birthday. Jesuit 42. Again, James Harris, who was Kamala, died right before she was made the VP nominee. His name 49, just like hers. She became the 49th vice president. His birthday, May 28th. He died 73 days after his birthday. Harris equals 73 and 89. He died on 8/9. We were talking about how Quincy equals 73 and 89. And what's wild is from Kamala's last birthday to the day he died, August 9th, was exactly 42 weeks later. Again, this is what they mean when who you want to vote for the lesser of two evils. You know, Trump sacrificed his wife, brother, sister. There's been a number of other people. Kamala's got, you know, from the wrestler to the little baby girl of the 49er player to could add Quincy Jones to the list. Who's more worthy of your vote? I mean, whose blood sacrifices offended you more? You know what I mean? And don't forget Obama. He joked on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, April 30th, 2011, that Trump would become number 45, and that was 45 days before Trump's birthday, and the highest degree of the Church of Satan is mega. So yeah, who do you want to vote for? Whose blood sacrifices were less offensive to you? They're going to represent you. These people who will, you know, they'll allow people to be murdered for them so that they can go be in their little puppet position and be worshipped by at least half the country or a large percentage of it. Which one of these psychopaths do you want to represent you? Who do you want to consent to? Whose blood sacrifices do you consent to in 2024? So you got to decide between now and then if you're going to go cast a vote in this sick psychopathic scheme. The wrestler Umega, he didn't get to live to be that old. He died at age 36, exactly 36 weeks into his age. Remember, 666 is the 36th triangular number. Probably saw the world's biggest 666 ritual in the time of Trump, running on the highest degree of the Church of Satan as president with the scandemic. Remember, Trump declared Operation Warp Speed on Mercuralia to celebrate Mercury, that curious ingredient that you can't talk about. The world of big tech won't tolerate it, and the medical world just knows it's not doing anything bad in the old pokey dokes. But Again, Trump did Operation Warp Speed 2 years to the day of Clade X, which was 666 days before the pandemic was declared on March 11th, 2020. And when he died, Umega, funny enough, it was 45 days after Kamala's birthday, like how she's running against number 45. And from Trump's birthday to his death was 173 days later, the 40th prime. His birth name, Umega, was Edward Fatu, 40. The other guy who ran on Mega was another actor from Hollywood who was a lifelong Democrat until he became a Republican. Ronald Reagan, just like Donald Trump, so many parallels. J.D. Vance, lifelong Democrat until just recently became a Republican. But anyway, Edward Fatu, 40. 173, the 40th prime. Ronald Reagan, number 40. Ronald Reagan won re-election running on Mega 40 years ago. The whole thing in Butler on the 40th parallel in Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh, the day Kamala was in Philly and they synced up the baseball games with the Rig Madness. And don't forget, Trump, the draft dodger who dodged a bullet. Again, in 63, 81, and 2024, the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series. In 63, Kennedy was shot. In 81, Reagan was shot. In 2024, Trump was supposedly shot. Dodgers beat the Yankees in all 3 years. Los Angeles equals 109, Yankees 109, shooting 109. And then this time, the Dodgers eliminated the Yankees 109 days after the shooting with their 109th win of the season. I mean, it's just like, it makes me sick that you have these people, these YouTubers that get all this attention and then they'll talk shit about my work and they'll be like, yeah, like all Zach stuff is like very opinion based though. It's like, I mean, numbers just line up. It's like, oh, why don't you bring me on to debate this then? Let's see if they just line up. If this just makes sense that all this stuff could just be a coincidence year after year. As these guys can call nothing, as these guys both had, like everybody had Trump to win in 2020. We were like literally the only person online who said Biden was going to win, and we were confident about it. All about 46. You know, pretty sure I was the first person in the world who said Trump was going to win in 2016 before he was even the Republican nominee too. Everyone thought it was impossible. I said, I don't know. All the numbers are there. I did change my opinion at the end of the 2016 election. Again, like I keep saying, 2016 is reminding me of 2024. All the signs had been there forever for Trump to win, but then all the stuff they've done with the female candidates at the end is making it look like, whoa, are they going to win? So I feel like I'm in the same position I was in 2016. But again, it's just like decoding sports games. Some are very obvious and some are tougher to call. So point is, you can see every time, though, how it's all rigged and scripted and put together. And by the way, just this whole wrestling thing, remember, President Donald Trump equals 248. Here, let me just go right here. Vince McMahon's got that 24/8 birthday, just like that was the day of the Trump mugshot last year in 2023. But here, I want to pull up a certain post here. Yesterday, Trump was in Lititz. He's the proud pussy grabber speaking from the Lititz, Pennsylvania. He was saying that he wished he hadn't conceded in 2020. But Lititz, Pennsylvania's got this 248 like President Donald Trump. And I just want to go back to this right here. I want to go back to 2016 when Hillary Clinton conceded to Trump. He was on 248 electoral votes. Right now, the country and the Illuminati are 248 years old. At the time, Hillary, 47%, Donald Trump, 48, Trump equals 47, Donald Trump equals 48. I'll remind you, if Trump does win tomorrow, if he wins the election, it doesn't mean Kamala's not going to become number 47 because there's still a period of time until January 20th, and Biden might not finish his term, and Kamala might become number 47, and Trump might become number 48. Again, Cleveland equals 48, like Donald Trump. Grover Cleveland, the only split-term president between his presidencies, was Harrison. Again, the shortest president in history was also Harrison. Only 1 month was William Henry Harrison the president. So that joke could still play out. Trump could become president again while the country's 248 years old, or we'll find out if this is where the story ends for Trump. Does it end while the country's 248 years old? Is this the last time anyone looks at him as a presidential candidate, because he would likely not run again, being in his 80s in 2028? But don't forget, The Simpsons have an episode where Ivanka Trump becomes president in 2028, the year she turns 47. So don't kid yourself. It could still be the Trump name up there in 2028, just Ivanka. Gerald Ford did tell us, again from the Herbert Hoover Library, that the first female president will not be elected. She will become president when an old man dies who's the president, and there's a woman VP. And again, he said that at the Herbert Hoover Library. And Herbert Hoover died the same day Kamala was born, October 20th, 1964. So that joke is still very possible. They called the vote for Trump at 248 electoral votes, while the 88% of the popular vote was in. I mean, this is how dumb this stuff is. And don't forget, purple equals 88, and Bill and Hillary came out and conceded in purple, and it was all synced with the Queen that year. Elizabeth, 88, and Prince, who did Purple Rain, died on her birthday, 201 days from the election. And by the way, yeah, just even Hillary being on 218 electoral votes when she lost, another big Trump number. This year, 2024, it's 218 years since the Holy Roman Empire supposedly ended on the 218th day of the year, August 6th, 1806. Holy Roman Empire's 218 like Trump. Holy Roman Empire's also got the 88. Holy Roman Empire's alive and well in D.C. The election was called on the 235th day of Baron Trump's age. We were just talking about that with Quincy Jones, Big Society, a Jesus number. But yeah, I mean, you can't call the election by who has the blood sacrifices, because they both do. They started earlier for Trump. He got the most blatant one, 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. His ex-wife's dead 45 years after their marriage. Again, then that thing, 60 legal cases against Trump on the same day, and then he has all these legal problems after that. Alvin Bragg equals 60, like indictment. And again, it's all jokes. He appears in the courtroom on what would have been Heath Ledger's 44th birthday on 4/4, when he died while portraying Joker. And then they just filmed the latest Joker scene in the courtroom a week before he's in the courtroom, getting the 34 indictments, 34 felony charges for the Passover ritual, for the Stormy ritual, the whole trial that lasted 45 days, where Stormy Daniels took the stand 45 days after her 45th birthday, where the judge's name Juan Merchant's 45. So yeah, anyway, RIP to Quincy Jones. Quincy Delight Jones, gone at 91 on the 235th day of being 91, right before the election, where Black history could be made further than it has already been made, where there could be a major parallel between Kamala and Obama, 16 years apart. So if you got here late, you might want to rewind it, get caught up. I think we hit all the main points, what they got going on with Monday Night Football, how it parallels what they just did with the World Series. Andy Reid going for his 152nd win with the Chiefs, after the Chiefs visited the White House on the 152nd day of the year. All right, yeah, I think we got it all. Okay, you know what? I bet there's somebody out there, though, who has a $1 million observation of something I'm overlooking. So let me drop the link real quick. Let me drop the link in the chat. Anybody wants to hop on and contribute, the link is there. Shout out to King Richard TV. He died 152 days from Clive Davis's birthday. Man, isn't it crazy how yeah, that must be, right? Because it's Diddy's birthday, another producer that the news breaks. Diddy had the 201 ritual with Clive Davis. And then it's 49 days. Yeah, so it's got to be 152. Yep, absolutely. So Quincy Jones, 152 days from Clive Davis. Wicked. Yeah, good one, King Richard. Frank the Truth Tank with another generous donation. Thank you very much, Frank. Paula the Kitchen Witch, always gifting the memberships. Appreciate that, Paula. Same with Rick James. Thank you, Rick. Paula the Kitchen Witch said that song was in movie Problem Child. Are we talking about It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to? I remember Problem Child. That was either the 80s or the 90s, those movies. Little redhead. Oh, yeah, little redhead kid. Yeah, I remember those movies. There was a few of them. All right. King Richard TV says the same thing. That song was in the first Problem Child film, and he died on the 307th day of the year. Problem Child 63. Interesting. Interesting. Again, that song came out in 63. Gematria's Key 123 said, it's funny how the Cavaliers are the #1 seed right now, undefeated with the Trump and Grover parallel. It is, absolutely. Again, Trump trying to become the nation's next Grover Cleveland. Cleveland equals 78, like Trump 78. Cleveland also equals 48, like Donald Trump equals 48. And again, it's possible that he wins the election. People are thinking he's going to be number 47, which could make sense because Trump's also 47. But again, if Biden doesn't finish the term, Kamala becomes number 47, it would bump Trump up to number 48. Grover Cleveland was number 22 and number 24. And Trump announced at the end of 2022 in a 666 ritual that he was running in 2024. All right. Again, I did drop the link. I didn't see anybody join yet. I'll drop it one more time. Yeah, I heard about the cybersecurity simulation. I mean, it wouldn't shock anybody. Yeah, that's true. Basketball does have the 22 connection. Thank you very much, CBD. CBD says Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, Ronald and Donald Reagan and Trump. What? All right, I know Donald Trump equals 138, 159, and 60, but the way you wrote that got kind of confusing. I'm a little bit confused by the way you wrote it, but I do appreciate the donation, CBD. I'm discovering my dyslexia trying to read this comment. Split term has the 57. Yeah, November 5th leaves 56 days left in the year, but you could also say it's the first of the last 57 days of the year. Queen Conscious dropped 5 to say vote Trump. Hey, you know what? Why not come on here and explain why people should vote Trump? Why should people vote Trump? Do you want a repeat of his last term where he ushered in the banker agenda from Switzerland, locked down mom and pop shops, and allowed Amazon, Walmart, and Costco to stay open, furthering the fascist identity of America beyond, much further than it had ever been before. Why should we vote for Trump? I know a lot of people are under the delusion that the two parties are one's better than the other when they're not. But yeah, in my opinion, the worst president in the history of the U.S. is Donald Trump, because I've never seen worse things happen than when he was in office. And that's not an endorsement of the Democrats or a reason to vote for Kamala either. Nobody should vote in any of these rigged elections. It's just I couldn't say that there's ever been a worse president. I saw the very worst things ever happen to this country while he was president, which was also something I projected would happen before he even took office. What do you expect from a game show contestant? So yeah, come on and let us know why we should vote Trump. You want another father of the jab? You want more mockery? To do that on Mercaralia. print all that money, cause all this inflation, and then point the finger at the other party because that's how the system's designed. That's the real reason there's term limits, so that they can keep going back and forth with the parties and saying, "Oh no, it was that party that did it." And then when the good things happen during a party's administration, they do the same. They're like, "Oh, that's because of our policies from back when we were in office." It's such an obvious joke, and I don't know who falls for any of it. CBD said they put it in the chat properly. Let me find it. I got the split term part. Yeah, that part was clear. Ronald and Donald. Okay, I see. Ronald and Donald, very similar to Ronald Reagan. Okay, I got it. Reagan and Trump. That's interesting. Yeah, that is crazy how that all overlaps so perfectly. Okay. Yeah, that's wild. And again, just both Hollywood actors, both guys who were Democrats who became Republicans as president. I mean, how many parallels? Both ran on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. I mean, Ronald Reagan died on June 5th, can be written 5/6. The whole scandemic happened 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began. Ronald Reagan equals 56, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus. Yeah, that is very interesting, CBD. I don't think I'd ever noticed that before. I don't know who started the Donald Trump is Biff. I'd never heard anybody say that before. Somebody who learned to decode from me, Brother Berg, started talking about that like back in 2015, 2016-ish. I don't know if he started that or if he got that from somewhere else. It's become a lot more popular since then. I hadn't heard anybody say that Trump was Biff until he came around, but now I see people saying that all the time. I wouldn't bet on this election right now. Well, they say your initial thoughts are the best one, and I have been talking about Trump coming back and being Grover Cleveland since the 2020 election. So that's when I started saying that with the signs that were out there, and I remember people saying I was wrong. They're like, he's not even going to run in the next election. Well, they're all wrong about that, but again, I felt very confident that Trump was going to come back and become Grover Cleveland. And he still might, but the stuff they've done with Kamala has made me go, oh, I'm not so sure anymore. So I would say it would be smarter not to bet on this election. Again, there's plenty of things to bet on every day. So like we just kicked the NFL's ass again this week 9. And yeah, just the fact that you can even bet on these elections, that should tell you they're rigged right there. Anything you can bet on in America is rigged, point blank, period. Unless you're doing like friendly bets with your neighbors or something on the local high school game. Unless it's Tim Walls' high school. Tim Walls, what did he say last week? That his favorite play in football is the pick six? Like, it's not a play. That's something that happens. This guy was a football coach. We're going to go out there and run the pick six. Yeah, okay. It's a joke, these frauds we get out there. All right, you guys all of you guys who come out here and do the doxing thing in the chat. I can only assume that you guys are part of this federal operation. Again, I did have the feds out at my house earlier this year asking me about people in the chat. All of you guys who do that are clearly part of whatever's going on. Again, YouTube put out the article a couple years ago. They were thinking about taking down people's channels based on what's going on in the chat, which seemed absolutely crazy. And so far, I haven't seen that happen. But when I see all these people doing this, I feel like they're trying to build the case to make that happen. So how do you learn how to bet on the rig sports? Well, you can just follow the free information I put out, or you can join us on Patreon where we cover it pretty much every single day. So link for the Patreon's in the description of every video, patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. So far, by the way, we haven't had anybody try to join the stream to contribute. So if we don't have anybody else, there's Jeff Young. What's up, Jeff? You game me blocked on the link to call. Well, if you got blocked, there must have been a reason. So I've only blocked a few people, and it's because they were trolls. Beyonce dressed as Prince paying homage to Purple Rain. Are you saying she did that for Halloween this year? I saw Patrick Mahomes' 3-year-old son dressed up as a lion on the Detroit Lion owner's birthday, which is Halloween. Um, well, if you're not a troll, then you're not blocked. So I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, there's a whole community to learn from, Harold, if you join the Patreon. There's live streams every day. There's a lot of active members in the chat. You can learn from me. You can learn from the people in there. So support the work. All right, here, I'll close out by reading an article about Quincy Jones. If you guys got here late, you might just want to rewind. But let's just see if in the reporting, if Goldie Hawn is heartbroken after the death of Quincy Jones. His final heartfelt post before his death. We've seen a lot of interesting social media posts before these people passed. Let's check this one out. More ads than article. Quincy Jones showed his love as a father in his final Instagram post. The legendary music titan died at age 91 on Sunday night, hours earlier. His Instagram page shared a special message to his daughter, Martina, in honor of her turning 58 on Friday. Well, that's interesting because November 3rd leaves 58 days left in the year. MJ and Prince both born in 58. Freemasonry equals 58, like secret society, like Rosicrucian. Remember, Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower he's running for the 58th election and did 1,058 rituals before supposedly winning. Again, he was the apprentice. The first degree of Freemasonry is the honored apprentice. So final post to his daughter for the 58th birthday, and then he dies on the day, leaving 58 days left in the year. I mean, and again, Freemasonry 58, Scottish 113. He's dead on November 3rd. Happy birthday to my Tina Bina. So proud to be yo papa, Quincy wrote, alongside a photo of the father-daughter duo smiling together. Big hug, I love you eternally. The message added. At 91, he's a master of the emojis. I still haven't even figured out how to use them. Happy birthday to my Tina Bina. Okay. Well, that wasn't as bad as some of these things we've seen from celebrities. You know. What was that one guy, Juice World? His Twitter handle, like the gematria encoding of it, was the date he ended up dying on, and it said he was going to fake his death someday. Quincy Jones' final message on Instagram. Okay. Quincy's publicist, Arnold Robinson, confirmed the music icon was surrounded by his family at his Los Angeles home when he passed away. It always says the same thing anytime a celebrity dies. They died surrounded by their family. Like, do they all take turn like pouring the arsenic into his mouth? How does it work? Tonight, with full but broken hearts, we must share the news of our father and brother Quincy Jones passing, Robinson said in a statement. And although this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the great life that he lived and know there will never be another like him. Quincy was the proud father of 7 children. He shared Martina and son Quincy III, 55, with his second wife, Ula Anderson. He had 2 daughters, Kikeda and Rashida, with his third wife, Peggy Lipton. Okay. The late music producer also had daughter Rachel, 61, with dancer Carol Reynolds, and daughter Kenya, 31, with actress Natasha Kinski. Rashida is the most famous of Quincy's kids. She's known for her roles in the shows Parks and Recreation, Boston Public, and Angie Tribeca, as well as the films The Social Network, I Love You Man, and The Muppets. Well, she also made the 2018 Netflix documentary Quincy about her father, which won the Grammy Award for Best Music Film. I think I'm going to find another article. This articles, it's too much about. See if we can read one more that might have some better information. The 14 essential songs is just Straight New York Times, a reminder that Lincoln said the greatest purveyors of slavery were the Jesuits. The New York Times, always Jesuit run, Slave 14. Here, let's check out the AP News article. Where did it go? Quincy Jones, the multi-talented music titan whose vast legacy ranged from producing Michael Jackson's historic Thriller album to writing prize-winning film and television scores and collaborating with Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, and hundreds of other recording artists, has died at 91. Again, his name, Quincy Delight Jones. Seen it so many times. And again, who's doing it all? The same people who gave us the language and the calendar and who run clearly pretty much every last thing in this nation. The government, the media, the entertainment world. Again, we're on their calendar speaking their language, the Society of Jesus. And he died on a Sunday, too. Keep that in mind. Quincy Jones. All right, where we go? Jones publicist Arnold Robinson. I just hear the name Robinson so much right after what they just did with Jackie. I'm guessing that's not an accident either. Says he died Sunday night at his home in the Bel Air section of Los Angeles. Speaking of Jackie and the Dodgers. Surrounded by his family. Jones was to have received an honorary Academy Award later this month. You know, that's not an accident. We talked about that photo earlier. Tonight, with full but broken hearts, we must share the news of our father and brother Quincy Jones passing, the family said in a statement. And although this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the great life that he lived and know there will never be another like him. Jones rose from running with gangs on the south side of Chicago to the very heights of show business, becoming one of the first Black executives to thrive in Hollywood and amassing an extraordinary musical catalog that includes some of the richest moments of American rhythm and song. For years, it was unlikely to find a music lover who did not own at least one record with his name on it, or a leader in the entertainment industry and beyond who did not have some connection to him. Jones kept company with presidents and foreign leaders, movie stars and musicians, philanthropists and business leaders. He toured with, who's Count Basie? I don't know who that is. Is that right? Count Basie? It's probably Count Basie and Lionel Hampton. Somehow I don't know who that is. I'm sure Jeff Young does. Arranged records for Sinatra and Ella Fitzgerald, composed the soundtracks for Roots and In the Heat of the Night, organized President Bill Clinton's first inaugural celebration, and oversaw the all-star recording of We Are the World, the 1985 charity record for famine relief in Africa. I remember being a little kid in second grade and having to sing that with all the other second graders. But yeah, we talked about how Bill Clinton's running mate was Gore, and his first big hit was with Leslie Gore. It's My Party. If you missed that, you got to check back how it's crazy how they connect all this stuff. But Bill Clinton, number 42, dead 42 years from the November that Thriller was released. Lionel Richie, who co-wrote We Are the World and was among the featured singers, would call Jones the master orchestrator. In a career which began when records were still played on platters, turning at 78 revolutions per minute. That's interesting with Trump being 78. Top honors like go to his productions with Jackson. Top honors likely go to his productions with Jackson, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, were albums near universal in their style and appeal. Jones' versatility and imagination helped set off the explosive talents of Jackson as he transformed from child star to the king of pop. On such classic tracks as Billie Jean and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Jones and Jackson fashioned a global soundscape out of disco, funk, rock, pop, R&B, and jazz and African chants. For Thriller, some of the most memorable touches originated with Jones, who recruited Eddie Van Halen for a guitar solo on the genre-fusing Beat It and brought in Vincent Price for a ghoulish voiceover on the title track. Thriller sold more than 20 million copies in 1983 alone and is contended with the Eagles' greatest hits, 1971 to 75, among others, as the best-selling album of all time. If an album doesn't do well, everyone says it was the producer's fault. So if it does well, it should be your fault too, Jones said in an interview with the Library of Congress in 2016. The tracks don't just all of a sudden appear. The producer has to have the skill, experience, and ability to guide the vision to completion. He's looking like MJ there with all those Grammys. They took a picture from the 33rd annual Grammys, and the poor guy died 33 weeks and 3 days after his birthday. Hold up. When are the upcoming Grammys? Oh, the upcoming ones are going to be the 67th. Oh boy. If you're in the music industry, you better find yourself a bunker. The 67th? Man, that number is so fateful. You don't even want. Woo! It's going to take place on the 33rd day of the year. Hmm. You know what's crazy? It's going to happen 91 days after he died at 91. Look, you guys. It's going to happen 91 days after his death at 91. You know they're going to be talking about him. You know he's going to have a big tribute. Look at that. 91 days later. It's on the 33rd. Isn't it crazy how it's on the 33rd day of the year and they had to get a picture of him from the 33rd annual Grammys? The date numerology of this photo from February 20th, 91, 2 plus 20 plus 91, the abbreviated date numerology is 113. Like how he ended up dying on November 3rd. The full date numerology, 2 plus 20 plus 19 plus 91 is 132. Like there's 132 rooms in the White House. And United States of America is 132. And so is Roman Catholic and Catholic Church. They're both 132. And from the Illuminati being founded, which again was created by a Jesuit, to this country being named on September 9th, 1776 was 132 days. Oh, there's always, you pay attention when these award shows come around, there's always a number of deaths connected to them. And because this is the 67th, I have a feeling it's going to be worse than ever. I have a feeling it's just going to get wicked. Blood sacrifice 60, whoops, let me spell it right. Sacrifice 67, human sacrifice 67, satanic 67. Bob Dylan told us you got to sell your soul. How old is Bob Dylan right now? How old is Bob? Bob, born when, man, he's 83 right now. You better look out. Especially if Kamala gets in there, because election's 83, getting murdered by numbers by the police from 1983 about how killings was sport of the elected. Kamala's running with the Minnesota guy. But it was Bob Dylan on 60 Minutes who said to Ed Bradley, you want to make it in this business, you got to sell your soul. Okay. Carl says, look up Penn in Pennsylvania. Look up Penn in Pennsylvania. Trump did end up going to school in Pennsylvania. He ended up going to that university there. Trump. Mike Pence. I see what you're saying. Mike Pence. Yeah. Okay. Mike Pence coming down to Pennsylvania. All right. I follow you, Carl. I follow what he means. Mike Pence. No doubt about it. November 3rd is known as the Day of the Dead, huh? Is that like in the Catholic tradition where it's close to Halloween? The Day of the Dead. Well, it looks like, I'm going to look into that one more. It looks like it can usually range from October 31st to November 6th, so definitely in the period of the Day of the Dead. Mm-hmm. Day of the Dead. What do you say if you throw a "the" in front of it? The Day of the Dead? Yeah, yeah. That's probably not an accident. Dead 131 days after the Michael Jackson anniversary. All right, let's try it one more time. Do we have anybody that wants to contribute to this stream? If not, I got to wrap it up and move on because there is always so much more to do, especially with Sweet Lady being on the verge of popping out a little one. The link is in the chat. Adam Ryan, to answer your question, Derek's website, he changed it so you have to pay a monthly membership to use that feature. He does have it on there, but you have to pay the monthly membership. And the original Gematria calculator, which I can't even think of the name of the website right now. It's been a minute since I used it. Gematrix.org. So this website, it only offers 3 ciphers. View rude words as a checkbox. That's funny. So like I'll just type in Quincy just for an example. So this only offers 3 ciphers, and the ciphers it offers, it refers to it as Hebrew gematria, but that's the cipher that's known as Jewish gematria, which Derek renamed Latin. English gematria is multiplying the alphabetic order times 6 on this cipher, and then simple is just the alphabetic order. So it only gives you 3 ciphers here, but down below it'll show you things in their database that overlap with that word. But I'd be careful because but there's all kinds of connections which have nothing to do with the word you're looking at. So, but yeah, just again, if you do pay for the membership on Derek's website, if you just type in a number, for example, like let's just say you want to find things in the database, and you can change what ciphers are up here, because based on what ciphers are up here, like let's say I just wanted to find things that equal 111 in the most simple cipher, I'd close these other ciphers, or if I want to look at another cipher, I'd open that one up. But then over here on the right side, there's this arrow pointing. See this blue thing on the right side of the screen with the arrow pointing back towards the center of the screen? If you click on that, it says match to history, most common, or database. If you click database, it'll match everything that's ever been entered in this calculator that's 111. So you can see all the 111s. You see? But yeah, he used to have that as a free feature, but now you got to subscribe to his website. And I'd be more inclined to help promote Derek and his subscriptions if he hadn't turned into a troll. And I think he's making pretty good money on the website, and part of me doesn't like that he's become a troll, and I'm not sure he's really here to do anything other than make money off the knowledge at this point, because the decodes he puts out just seem like he's trolling every time. It's like, that can't be really a serious decode. I mean, you got to be joking. And not to mention he hangs out with all the trolls and haters, which is also suspicious since I taught him everything he knows and helped him get a following. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do about these haters? Well, we only have one person who entered, and you never guess who it was. He just loves to come on here. You know what? Just because you're so persistent and because you are the only person who came on here. Oh, right as I was about to put him on, he dropped off. I guess he got stage fright. Either that or it was time to go back and pump some gas. All right. I was even going to give him another shot. That was weird. He's never dropped off right when I was about to put him on. Hey, if you want to vote for me for president, I would just say it's better to just not even go and participate in the whole rig selection process, because a vote for me will probably just go down as a vote for whichever one of the stooge candidates they want to put in. So, Sweet Lady is definitely not voting. Taught Sweet Lady well over here. She sees what a joke it is. All right. Since we didn't get anyone to contribute, I look forward to good comments. If you got anything else to add to this, please pass it along. I'm going to add to my post at the bottom this thing about the upcoming Grammys 91 days later, on the 33rd day of the year after he dies, 33 weeks and 3 days after his birthday. But yeah, R.I.P. Quincy Jones. Again, lucky guy to get to live to 91 in show business. A lot of guys don't even make it out of their 20s. Well, you just never know. Maybe one day he'll come on and apologize. Somebody asked if I could look into this story. I don't. This story right here. I don't know what to say about this story. I haven't looked at it. I'm sure somewhere out there, somehow, some way, it's making my mom happy, which is sad to say. My mom now sees squirrels as public enemy number one, but just this stuff, man. I mean, you think I was like, how is this a news story? Like, how have we not made? Well, I was gonna say, how have we not made the news? But I guess we have. They took two shots, or well, two shots at us in the mainstream where they actually used my name. There's been other times where I think they were talking about me, but didn't put my name in the article. But it's been a minute. How have we not been covered in the news in a positive light for putting out information that exposes actual tyranny? And here, lo and behold, the media, supposedly the First Amendment was to allow the media to expose tyranny, which is something they never do. So that should tell you about how corrupted it's been for some time. You don't ever see this media talking about any kind of tyranny in the federal government, which is all it really is. All right. All right. All right. We're going to leave it there. Thanks again to everyone who's liking the share. Thank you to the people who were generous donors during the stream. And until next time, True Seeker.